I made a video previously talking about health, and I mentioned parasites. And I said to compare bacteria to human behavior. So let's see who the parasites in society. Title of this video is called Invasion of the Mind Snatchers, Demonic, Parasitical, Possession, Vampire Religion, Wormwood, and Ticks. Keep in mind, I'm really not plugging myself. I'm just saying, if you really like this topic, all of my books, except for the one about reincarnation, which is What You Sow, is about parasites, okay? So I say everything explicitly here, but I'm going to allude who is the parasite in society? And this video is by Library of the Untold.
All parasites have four characteristics in common. They cannot survive on their own accord, requiring a host to exist. They have to sneak. Being covert and undetected is critical as a subversive species. They keep their host weak to thrive. The sicker the host, the healthier the parasite. Lastly, if they face destruction, they won't hesitate to sink their own ship, killing their host even if it means suicide.
So already, I know he has his symbols up. Again, you need to keep in mind the videos these type of people make is to divert from who the actual parasite is, okay? So think about a parasite and host dynamic when it comes to the body. Who is getting parasited off of? And who's the host? And who is the parasite? Let's replay what he just said. And I already know this is going to be like a multi-part one. So we're going to go through this very slowly and intricately because that's what we do here.
Survive on their own accord, requiring a host to exist.
Cannot survive on their own accord, requiring hosts to exist. In a previous video, I don't have a title for it yet, but it's by Manifestel, who's talking about health. Okay. Who does the parasite need to keep him alive?
They have to sneak. Being covert and undetected is critical as a subversive.
And what do? They create all of these identities, these constructs, these programs to divert from who is doing what. The second you get close to who the parasite is, they throw out another diversion, and I'm going to give it to the parasite. It always works. I even said on one of my social media accounts, I was like, they won. Congratulations to them. They won the game of life. They have successfully, continuously distracted everybody from what's going on. These parasites are the matrix.
Species. They keep their host weak to thrive.
And who's weak? Who's considered weak in society? Just think about that. What group of people are considered weak in society? And why does the parasite who considers himself strong need to feed off of the weak?
The bigger the host, the healthier the parasite. Lastly, if they face destruction, they won't hesitate to sink their own ship, killing their host even if it means suicide.
Yeah, what do we see about the killing the whole family? The host, her greatest danger is when she's pregnant. Her greatest danger is when she's around this parasite, right? The parasite will even kill off all the children and then commit suicide.
When editing our last episode on Revelation, I put together this breakdown of the verse on wormwood. That despite...
So like I said before, the Bible is a scientific book. It's about the body. So let's read this together. Revelation 8:11 says, "The third angel sounded the digestive system, and there fell a great star from heaven, herb of nature, burning as it were a lamp, cleansing, and it fell upon the third part of the river's circulatory system, and the name of the star was wormwood, literally an antiparasitical. And many men died because they were made bitter. Parasitism cannot live in an alkaline body." And I talked about this before as well. If the body is too acidic, you have an unbalanced pH. Women, you should know. This is what results in the death. But what is wormwood? I know there is some type of herb called wormwood, but what would cause, according to the Bible, many men to die? Let's see.
What any church tells us is clearly about ridding the body of parasites as an initiatory prep to receive clearer visions of the divine, what we would today call downloads. It goes without saying that our body works better when it is healthy in all regards. Acting as an antenna would be no different. But this
Yeah, if your body's not healthy and you block the antenna by getting foreign substances put into your body, you're not going to get the downloads. You're going to be disconnected from source. Literally, you're going to be disconnected from yourself. Every situation you're in has a power read. Most people can't see theirs until it's already gone. That's what the board read is. You send me the whole board, the messages, the dynamic, what's actually being said under what's being said. And I tell you where the power is moving. Green for when you're gaining it, and red when you're handing it away. And the one move that pulls it back. You don't gain any comfort, and I don't spin the situation to your favor. You just get the true reading of the board. It's $150, and the link is in the description.
In Kabbalistic thought, what can appear as parasitic forces, often described as the klipoth or shells, are not independent beings in the full sense, but residual structures that arise from imbalance or fragmentation. They persist where divine light is not properly integrated. And while they may be described as if they have agency, they are not truly sentient in the way a unified consciousness is.
So the reason why I don't usually watch these types of videos is because they use a lot of language to confuse you. Everything he's saying doesn't make sense. You either talk about reality, what's happening in physical reality, or you don't. In this case, he's not going to do it. So you have to understand these individuals that he's talking about, fragmentation means they need something outside of them, outside of the body, to feel complete, to feel a sense of completeness. So not actual completeness, right? Because everything is within. So, who are the individuals who love and need sex to the point they're willing to kill for it? They're going to go crazy for it. They flood every venue of communication about it so that they let you know what they need from you as the host. So, these are empty individuals. These are egotistical individuals who cannot survive on their own. They need to feed off of someone. These are false selves who don't exist without this act. They call it intimacy.
These correspond to distortions. They are not external entities, but patterned expressions of misalignment within the erotic sphere. That's how Eric flirts with me. What appears
Again, he doesn't even understand, like, again, the diversion, the erotic sphere. Why is he skipping over that, right? And it's not that everything that is in the unseen manifests in the seen. It's just that you can't see it because you're biased or you're one of them.
all three noggins are connected by the vagus nerve, making us feel like one thinker. When a parasite attaches to the gut, it doesn't just feed on whatever.
So he's missing the lowest part, right? The genitals as well. So the parasites actually get in through the lower part of your body first, through food and sex.
Instead, its very own desires and behavior are expressed through you and become your desires and behavior. This possession makes you retrieve more of what it wants.
The most powerful feeling a human being can feel is sex related. So if the parasite can control you from this, I'm going to call it a chakra, it's the root chakra. If the parasite can control you from this place, then it can control everything about you, right? This is the baseline.
This is why you crave sugar, even though the human body rejects it. But the other side of that coin that nobody talks about is that you also acquire some of its instinctual nature of behavior. And a parasite's only response system is pure fight or flight. All it knows is consumption and reproduction. The heart noggin is
what else knows consumption and reproduction only? What they say is the purpose of life? It's to reproduce, right?
immune from this genre of invasion. Parasites in this neighborhood can cause myocarditis, and in cases like toxoplasmosis, a worm born from the Lord's most perfect creature, the cat, can alter your behavior in such a way that makes us prone to risk taking.
And who is affected by toxoplasmosis? The individual, he keeps going back to get reinfected by the host. She could go to the doctor and get some type of antibiotic, anti-parasitic, but she'll always go back to the parasite to get reinfected. Did I say host before? I meant parasite.
Mystics and scientists agree on few things, but one thing they certainly do share is the importance of harmony between all three organs, often called heart-brain regulation or body-mind co.
So it's not just your organs, it's every cell in your body, every single cell. So this includes your skin cells, this includes the cells in your skin, in your sexual organs, this includes the cells in your legs, right? It all, and cells in your feet, it all makes one. So if one part of your body, if one cell, well, not one cell's not going to outrule you, but the thing, how karma works is that when you engage in an action repeatedly, all of your cells become one with that action. And then that is how a habit is formed. That's why when somebody tells you that if you want to improve your life, you have to practice. Practice comes first because you need to repeat that action and get that memory into your cells. So if you're continuously submissive, right, you are programming your DNA to become this way. And then you're going to find yourself in situations where when you continuously have to submit. If you think you are socialized a certain way, that is actually a death sentence. You actually want to believe in biology because the body adapts beautifully to any situation you put it in. Socialization actually puts you to death, and people think it's the opposite. It's really not. That's why I had a lot of people get upset about me saying genetics and stuff. You can change your, there's such thing as epigenetics. So that's what you want in your life, and not this this doomer mindset of socialization. Because if you really look at it, when people want to make excuses for their failures and their bad choices, what do they always say? Oh, I'm socialized this way. Nobody ever says it's my genetics, right? Because you can actually change your genetics, especially if you are into mysticism of any sort, especially if you understand what yoga is and not just the exercise.
Coherence, depending on which language subscription you signed up for. When all lined up and balanced, we are a beacon of good-willed nature. But when out of whack, we are susceptible to infection, to infiltration.
Okay, so what is out of whack? When you have too much, when you release your energy too much, I can't say that S word too much, but when you release your energy, the root chakra energy too much, this is what happens to you. You become infested.
Basically, the door opens for anyone to walk in holding a disformal invitation. This makes me realize something truly frightening. Despite the importance of knowing about them, in America, we never hear about parasites. Not in school, not in medicine, not in church, etc. What if the literal parasites that feed on our physical life force energy are not only parallel, but synonymous with demonic entities?
So the thing with parasites is that they kind of operate the way worms do in nature. So they decompose something that's rotting. So they're not necessarily evil, but they're decomposing a rotting individual. So if you are very toxic and nasty, you're mean, you're rude, you're hateful, you're going to get infested with parasites. Because parasites, they thrive in low vibrational bodies. If you have a very high vibrational body, you're very positive, you're very sweet, you're genuinely loving, you're not going to have parasites of any sort. The toxicity also extends to excessive submissiveness. If you're always tired, that's probably why. If you're just eating like trash all the time and you never cleanse your body, this will happen because they are there to break that stuff down and cleanse it out. That's part of what they do. But at the same time, they want you to keep eating that stuff so they have a source of food. So that's where the negativity of these entities come in. If this breakdown helped, the real work is on Substack. That is where I go deeper than any video can. On Substack, I take apart books, movies, and videos for what they actually say about power, who has it, who's built to hand it over, and how that machinery still runs today. Story first, strategy underneath. It's $10 a month, the difference between watching power and understanding it. Links in the description. Come take your power back. Start seeing it, then start taking it.
That feed on our minds and emotions. Could it be that, like,
Yeah, it's another thing. They feed on emotions too. So if you're somebody who's like for example, if you're on my channel and you get triggered by what I say, you probably have a parasite. Parasites hate the truth and they hate anything close to revealing them. So they get triggered, right? And then they release um, whatever they release, like secrete some type of thing they do to control your emotions. So you get very angry at something like something I would say, even though your physical circumstances are just fine, especially if you have time to sit down and watch a YouTube video, you're probably doing pretty well for yourself. Emotionally, you feel like the world is ending. And that's a sign that you are infected with something and therefore mentally ill.
our own pineal anatomy, parasites also work as an antenna, but instead of our ever fleeting downloads, they funnel in something much, much worse and is entirely preventable. What if our society is not actually sick like we think, but instead hijacked by archonic forces? Truth is,
Who is the archonic forces? Really, like, look at the stats. Who is the archonic forces? Who are the people who are killing others left and right, killing children, raping babies, thinking that they're entitled to children for sexual pleasure, wanting to control who they perceive as weaker than them? Who is that?
always stranger than fiction. Time and time again, we find that everything within and below has a primordial source that it corresponds with above. Parasites would be no different. And that correspondence seems to be of a demonic nature. But as
Human nature, yeah.
they say when confronting the latter, be not afraid. Because the problem might be cosmic, but the solution is much closer to home.
There's no evidence of any of this that he's showing. All there is here is there's humans, animals, nature, and bacteria. That's all we know of. So this cosmic stuff, again, it's another distraction as to the dynamic of what's going on here. All of these stories, these occult ancient stories, they are a metaphor for what actually goes on in our everyday life. And it's on you to be intelligent enough to see what it's talking about.
I have seen these flowers all over. They're growing like parasites on other plants. All of a sudden, where are they coming from? Outer space?
What are you talking about? A space flower?
Why not a
Yeah, they're
space
coming from
flower?
outer space, but never right in front of you.
Why do we always expect metal ships?
Parasite getting into your system. There's only two ways. It's through sex or food. So
Mark chapter 5, a man with an unclean spirit spent night and day wandering tombs, crying and cutting himself. When he saw the Christ, he ran up, begging to be healed from a demon who called itself Legion, because we are many. Big Dog JC cast the demons out into a herd of 2,000 pigs, an animal known to carry and pass parasites. And they reacted by stampeding off a cliff
they all do.
into
If you eat animals, the parasite, if you ate any sort of animal, the likelihood of you getting a parasite is very high. But they're in everything. They're in everything. They lay eggs everywhere. That's the nature. That's how they live. Because they gotta eat too, right? So the second they find any source of food, they're gonna lay eggs there, and then the humans eat the food, and then you have parasite eggs in your body, and then they hatch the eggs, and then they're living inside of you. So the solution to that is to cleanse them out. So if you cleanse your body regularly, it shouldn't be a problem.
turbulent waters where they choked. The man went on to finally make friends and tell incredible stories. Now, the Bible is written in allegory, and Jesus spoke in parables so as to be timeless and understood by various cultures of different lingos.
No, You got to speak in allegory because you're going to get killed by people if you speak very openly and straightforward. You will notice the theme of Jesus' life was purity.
Well, today will be to find out what that means for us in literal terms. When discussing Kundalini last month, we talked about Constantine getting together with his boys at Nicaea to purposefully destroy the zodiacal implications of the Bible. A mission accomplished, by the way. What we left out was the reason he so viciously killed his wife and mother. He caught them with forbidden scriptures.
Yeah, because they're going to find out what I'm talking about here. Duh. These males are on a mission to kill the parasites are on a mission to kill anything that could reveal them. That's the nature of parasites.
By the Essenes. It could be assumed that, like all banned books, this literature was a potential threat to his position of power, making it, like all banned books, worth a second look with a modern eye.
All right, let's see what this book is about. So this page says, the heavenly, he has a lot of screenshots, by the way. I don't know if I want to go through them, but let's go through this one. Friday evening, the Heavenly Father and I are one. Saturday evening, angel of eternal life, descend upon me, give eternal life to my spirit. Gravity, superior planets. Sunday evening, angel of creative work, descend upon humanity and give abundance to all men. Bees, creative work. Monday evening, peace, 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 angel of peace, be always everywhere. Moon, peace within. Wednesday morning, angel of sun, enter my solar center and give the fire of life to my whole body. Solar rays. Thursday morning, angel of water, enter my blood and give the waters of life to my whole body. Rivers, creeks, etc. Friday morning, angel of air, enter my lungs and give the air of life to my whole body. Energies of atmosphere. So this is actually a really good page. This essentially tells you how to heal yourself if you're going through something. Like you need some of them are kind of hard to understand, but you need creative work in your life to be mentally healthy. Has to be done. You need peace in your life. You need the sun. Okay? If you can't get sunlight, you'll never be healthy. You need water, especially if you take certain things into your body. You need water to help cleanse it out. You need clean air. You need the earth, right? You need a ground. You need joy. You need power. This is what I talk about extensively. A lot of people say, we don't need power. We need to be meek and humble. Okay, then be meek and humble, but don't complain about the position you're in life. You need both spiritual power, physical power. Power is the generator of life. So you need power. And you need love. And you need wisdom. So these are all key components of optimizing your health, optimizing your life in general. And this will help you reach cosmic consciousness. And look at the position this person's in. They're meditating, right? So this is what you obtain through all of this. If you want everything in like one fell sweep, you meditate to get all of these things. But when you're not meditating, you still need to go after it. Like this should be your goal every single day. But of course, they're going to burn books like this because they don't want you to figure that out.
Making it.
If you are in this state, like if you're going after this every single day, the parasite can't live inside of you. The environment is hostile. A beautiful, healthy environment is hostile to the parasite. And I mean like genuinely healthy, because some people think they're healthy and they're still going after parasites. You're not healthy. You're still sick.
like all banned books, worth a second look with a modern eye. In the Essene Gospel of Peace, there is a wild story. Jesus went to them and said, Satan is like a choleric neighbor who entered his neighbor's house while he was absent, intending to take his goods away. But some told that his enemy was ravaging within the house, and he came back running. When the wicked neighbor, having gathered together all that pleased him, saw from afar the master of the house returning in haste, he was very wroth that he could not take all away, and set to breaking and spoiling all that was there, so that even if the things might not be his, the other might have nothing.
Mhm.
I tell you,
That's a very like colonizer mindset. They would rather destroy everything there and not let you have it because they can't have it. Again, this is another type of parasite. This is a different kind. Actually, you know what? It's the same kind. It's the same kind. The parasite can represent itself in different ways. It's an entity, right? But who do you see it in most? It's a couple groups of people, right? And it has a different name. One of them is Wetiko. I call it the Wetiko virus. Where it's just this, it doesn't even matter if this person's killed. This entity will rise up again and latch itself to another person or another group of people who will all have this, and they can't see how vile this is because they have the Wetiko virus.
truly,
And they're gonna hate me for saying, I already know they're gonna hate me for saying this, and they'll hate this channel because that's like demons hate this channel. They have to.
even so did Satan enter your bodies, which are the habitation of God. And he took in his power all that he wished to steal: your breath, your blood, your bone, your flesh, your bowels.
And look, they're all naked, biting them. And these individuals all become them. It's like a vampire bite.
Your eyes, your ears. But by your fasting and your prayer, you have called back the Lord of your body and his angels. And now
There's different ways you can fast. It's not just from food. It's also from relations.
Satan sees that the true Lord of your body returns, and that it is the end of his power. Wherefore, in his wrath, he gathers his strength once again, that he may destroy your bodies before the coming of the Lord. It is for this that Satan torments you so grievously, for he feels that the end is come. Among the sick, one was more tormented by Satan than all others. He was so weak that he could not even crawl to Jesus, and cried from afar, Master, I do suffer. I know that you are sent from God. If you will, cast out Satan from my body. Jesus answered, Satan torments you thus greatly because you have already fasted many days. You do not feed him with all the abominations with which you defiled the temple of your spirit. You torment Satan with hunger. Fear not, for Satan will be destroyed before your body is destroyed. Great is your faith. Be it according to your faith, and you shall soon see face to face the frightful countenance of Satan. I will cast out from you the powerful Satan by the strength of the innocent Lamb of God. For the Holy Spirit of God makes powerful the weakest than the strongest. Jesus milked an ewe, and put the milk upon the sand made hot by the sun, saying, Lo, the power of the angel of water has entered the milk, and now the power of the angel of sunshine. The vapor of the hot milk began to rise slowly into the air. Come and breathe in by your mouth the strength of the angels of water, of sunshine, and of air. He will come out of you to satisfy his hunger, and he will not be able to resist. The sick man's body was seized, and he retched as though he would vomit. He gasped for air. Now does Satan leave his body. See him. And Jesus pointed to the sick man's open mouth. They all saw with astonishment and terror that Satan was coming out from his mouth in the shape of an abominable worm, straight towards the steaming milk. Then Jesus took 2 sharp stones in his hands and crushed the head of Satan, and drew out from the sick man all the body of the monster, which was almost as long as the man. And then all his...
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of parasites. They really do grow because the intestines are really long, but they're like compacted into your abdominal area, but they do grow as long and tall as you.
Pain ceased, and the others looked with terror at the abominable body of Satan. See what an abominable beast you carried and nourished for long years, and sin no more, lest Satan return to you again. Let your body be henceforth a temple dedicated to your God. Be true sons of God, that you also may partake in his
Who
power.
is your God? It's you. The second you outsource your joy, I'm not going to go back to that graphic, but the second you outsource your joy to another person through relations, boom, the parasite got you again. It's just the way it is.
And in the knowledge of all secrets. For wisdom and power can come only from the love of God. Let all your deeds be sacrificed to God, and feed not Satan, for the wages of sin is death. Jesus departed, saying, I will come again to all who persist in prayer and fasting till the seventh day.
And this
Persist.
graphic right here, so when you meditate, this is the directions you need to go into. And I talk about that in my books as well. But also, if you do want to learn to meditate, just comment below and I'll send you the link.
In prayer and fasting till the seventh day. The scene, fitting for any horror movie, can be taken literally, that is, medically. But what can't be ignored is that the parasite is depicted as not just satanic, but as Satan itself, keeping in mind that Satan is not a name for a singular being, but is a title of position. That is the role of adversary. These verses highlight the fact that ancient storytellers did not separate allegory from literal happening. To them, the world of conceptual archetypal mind was one and the same as hard, tangible reality. Not only entangled and not just two sides of the same coin, but actually one. Kind of like the image of a movie in a theater is the direct result of the projector up in the booth. Basically, any modern medical practitioner reading that story will say it makes sense, that the man had a rare and dangerous worm in his digestive tract. After fasting the worm to starvation, Jesus could bait it with the scent of external sustenance, using milk vapor, forcing it to scramble for food in the event of even exposing itself. The parasite had no free will to decide strategically. It will instinctually go for that next quick meal, even if it means suicide.
So what is this next quick meal? And I think the easy answer is to think of food, but think about RAPE and how the parasite becomes so ravenous for relations that they would just go for anything, including the young, including animals, including a fruit, anything.
Power of the angel of water enters the milk so that the angel of sunshine can also get involved, and then the angel of air. This is clearly a mystic's way of describing the boiling process. Still no qualms from the doctor hearing the story, but where the modern medical practitioner ceases in expertise are the parts where the sick man originally invited the Satan worm into himself by defiling the temple of spirit. That angels protect the man's body from Satan's anger, which is impotent against God, and that it was the man's faith or belief in Jesus that allowed him to be cured. All of which might be called placebo by a doctor, while noting that we really don't know what placebo is or
All of that was completely nonsensical. But like I said, you need natural elements like going outside to get this parasite out. You actually got to cleanse your body, right? With water. Just calling for Jesus, if that worked, the world would be fixed. So obviously that hasn't worked.
how and why it works. And finally, the man, now cured, is instructed to be true sons of God, to partake in his power and knowledge of all secrets. And that this is done by having love in your heart and sacrificing all deeds.
So how do you have love in your heart though? Like how do you get to that point? By being pure in mind, body, and soul. What is purity?
This is right about where our modern doctor quits listening. Just, it's not his scope of work. Understandable. But perhaps it's our scope of work, that is, each individual person. To figure out how this all works, we need to start from the ground up. Let's explore the anatomical composition of literal parasites and work our way up that fractal to celestial beings called by many names. Because how you get rid of one is surely the road to knowledge that rids of all others. Despite having no free will of their own, parasites can be very clever.
Okay,
They
I'm going to say
usually
this before we start this portion of it. Do you see this thing? It's not that powerful. It's really not. But part of the distraction, and you can clean these out really easily, like these parasites are killed very easily. But part of the distraction from the humans on Earth who cause all the issues on planet Earth is to blame everything on these little critters that can be washed out of your body essentially very easily. So keep that in mind. I am not on the parasite fear mongering bandwagon here. You can see the parasite. Look how filthy this is. It's cleaning it up. It's cleaning it out. It's breaking down what's not supposed to be there.
Despite having no free will of their own, parasites can be very clever. They usually enter the body through foods, especially ones forbidden in religious texts, but they can also attach to flesh or be ones forbidden.
So meat is forgiven, essentially. Forbidden. And depending on which religion, if you look at all religions, pretty much all animals are forbidden. So you shouldn't be eating animals, according to religion.
In religious texts, but they can also attach to flesh or be transmitted from creature to person, like bug bites or getting a little too personal with.
Okay, finally he addressed it. So this is the most common one. Yes, bug bites to some extent, but again, if you clean your body regularly, again, it's not a big deal. But it's really hard to clean your body if you are getting these types of STDs right here. The Smart Series, 4 books, 1 sequence, each removes a layer the next one needs gone. If this made sense to you, there's much more to learn. Start with what you sow. The link's in the comment below.
With that date you literally just met, because all they want in life is to spread and expand outwardly. They can hide from your immune system by changing their surface proteins, literally going incognito with a new disguise, shape-shifting every time confronted. Some are more powerful than that and can manually turn down your immune system, sabotage from within like a covert spy. And they all have different ways to anchor themselves, using suction, sheer bite grip, or little hooks. They don't know how to thrive on their own accord, so they make a living at your expense. Some absorb the nutrient part of your food before your body gets to
He
it.
showed some type of political place, like a parliament or whatever. So these people as well, they are parasites for sure.
They will ensure the continued sickness of their host even after their term.
Mm-hmm. And
They will ensure the continued sickness of their host even
what
after.
kind of population votes for these individuals right here? A population that's already filled with parasites. So there are very few hosts, and you can look at it different ways. Like he's describing, like the little critters latching onto human bodies, and then these people, which again, most people have voted for them, so that's why they keep winning.
Their term, with detrimental diseases like Lyme's and alpha-gal. So basically, they are soft and gentle when meeting you and then slowly ruin your week or entire life. Why are you thinking of your ex right now? Hookworms penetrate through the skin like bare feet and find blood at music festivals. Ringworm is what you had from summer camp as a kid. And low-key, those guys are pretty chill.
I thought those were a fungus.
Are they a fungus? All right. Well, actually, that would make sense considering they're kind of chill.
Yeah, you can cleanse all of this. This is like not a problem at all. If you understand how the body works, this is like really not a problem. So at this point, this is just a metaphor for how real life happens and how like the actual problem is. So the people who are killing you because they can't parasite off you. Like, let's say, for example, you're walking down a street, a parasite asks you on a date, you say no, later they'll kill you. Like, that is the type of parasite you need to worry about. These ones, they're annoying, don't get me wrong, but there is a way to cleanse them. But of course, that's hidden from you as people who need to depend on the health system.
Trichonellosis and toniasis because they leave larvae in muscle tissue and come from the last thing I did with your mom. Look it up. What is not funny, though, are multiple studies by both larvae in muscle tissue and come from the last thing I did with your mom. Look it up.
Yeah, so see, this is how they need to plant it somewhere that they are what I'm talking about here. But if you say it outright, it's very offensive to the parasites. Because again, it's kind of like how psychologists say never call the narcissist a narcissist. You can't call the parasite a parasite. You have to name the traits, but never say it outright.
But if the devil plants people to do his work here on earth, then maybe he's got some pets playing fetch with our well-being. After all, back when Big Brother Yeshua saw one face to face, he called it Satan.
From the Essene Gospel of Peace, Beelzebub, the source of every evil, lies in wait. Am I saying that wrong? Beelzebub? I don't know. Lies in wait in the body of all the sons of men. He is death, the Lord of every plague, taking upon him a pleasing raiment. He tempts and entices. Now, who does that remind you of? Who causes the most death amongst humans? Who causes the most disease amongst humans? Who is sadistic enough to find pleasure in all of this? And who keeps tempting the host to continue this cycle?
Our story from earlier catches my attention again in the part where Jesus makes it clear that the man invited the Satan worm into his body by defiling the temple. In biblical canon, the demon called Legion also asked permission before entering that herd of pigs.
Yeah, and what do what do the hosts say? I almost slipped up again. What do the hosts say? I need consensual, enthusiastic. Whatever they say, they always say the same thing. It's a program. These are bots. They all say the same thing, and it is true. The parasite does many times ask for permission, and the host gives him permission. So what's the problem? Is it a parasitic infection if you said yes to it?
Mythology has it that these fairies also couldn't cross particular boundaries without first getting the green light. They, of course, used trickery and games of confusion to make their victims slip up just enough to get that permission slip. Mythology.
Yeah, it's happened in history too with colonization. Like they would play trickery in games and psychological manipulation, right? They also stole babies too, and then made them into slaves. So again, the parasite, these are actual people and actual events that happen in human history for real, like cannibalism. This is actual events that actually happen. And if you are somebody who reads these stories and they start to make you like very paranoid, and you get like very like you're gonna enter a state of psychosis if you read enough of these stories. You just need to remember it's describing human nature.
Out first getting the green light. They, of course, use trickery and games of
And
confusion.
again, like humans are possessed by entities, right? But these entities are what we also refer to as personalities, right? If someone is like really kind to you, really cool, talking to them like every single day, and then the second they get horny and become lustful, they completely switch. Like they become aggressive, they're choking you out. Like this happens to everybody. That's why people keep saying Humans are good. Just go outside and talk to them and give them a chance. But I'm like, if you give them a chance, you'll see their true nature. They're hateful. They always have these hateful demons who put on a mask. They know how to socialize, right? They put on a mask to make it seem like they're good because they have an end goal to meet. But if you actually speak to them long enough, you'll see the hate come out, the anger, the rage, the resentment, the sadism. It always comes out eventually. It's very rare to meet someone with a genuinely good heart.
Fusion to make their victims slip up just enough to get that permission slip. Mythology cannot lie. It is quite literally the collectively dreamt ideas of all humans ever. All of the above are easily the origin of our modern mythology about vampires. In vampiric religion, they cannot feed on your blood until they infest your house, and they cannot infest your house without you first having them in, and always through trickery. Trick or treat indeed. This lore can be equated to the ramifications of temptation.
Yeah, and the modern day vampires, they can't take the sun. Who is that?
You enjoy the treat that is instant here and now, and carnal desires are very sweet.
It smells lovely.
Now I want you to listen to me.
I'm listening to you now.
But then come to find out the candy was a trick, and you are the one being fed upon. Indeed, parasites can be introduced in much the same way, but it's not just literal worms. Remember, all parasites above and below by nature act the same way. So they're also limited to the same set of rules above and below. Please keep this in mind for later. How interesting is it that both vampires and parasites are deathly afraid of garlic, clove, sunlight, silver and copper, and what's the other thing that they fear? That's right, a good old-fashioned crucifix. Werewolves have
This bullshit one too. Like he actually listed like the good ones here. Garlic, clove, sunlight, silver, and copper, fine. The sunlight being the most important one, right? Because you can avoid the other ones naturally.
and what's the other
Crucifix.
thing that they fear? That's right, a good old-fashioned crucifix. Werewolves have an interesting mythology as well. This type of possession happens during the full moon. It just so happens that all fluids of the human body are synced up with the cycles of the moon. And when it is full, parasites seem to notice. And this is when they like to party. Being a
Yeah,
little
to get you to release your energy.
extra active during this phase also makes it a good time to kill them. You have seen stats on human behavior during the full moon that make sense of all these mythic images. Considering that our behavior is often an extension of parasitical cravings, could it be that all of the above behavioral anomalies share a common source in something much more ancient? Because that's the thing about parasitical possession. The host believes those desires are their own. Thus, they mistakenly think that they are in control. Demonic possession has a long
And I think it's fine. Let them think they're in control. When you can clearly see that somebody is under parasitical possession, just let them be under that. Don't try to save them. Don't try to do whatever. Like, stop giving advice if you understand the body. Don't give advice to people who don't ask for it.
evil yearns to harm others in a feeble attempt to make others just as weak and shitty. Every rape, molestation, all the way to a CEO who stashes his already plump pockets by cutting his employees' means of living, all fall under the same umbrella.
Really? Okay, so write a comment if you believe that rape,
Molestation, all the way to
is the baseline, and then the worst thing is the money getting pocketed by a CEO.
lack of character.
Again, the parasite is obvious, but they need to keep distracting you. They need to keep hiding what they are, and they need to downplay what they do so that they can keep being a parasite in peace. Deflect, deflect, deflect.
That way back in the day, in these Eastern countries, they didn't choose kings through nepotism. It wasn't the king's son that became king. They used initiation. And in a ritual that they called abhesika, I'll put that on the screen, they would put the potential king through a series of turmoil, things that were frightful, things that were fearful, and the toughest man became king.
And that's what you're going to go through in life. You're going to go through pain, lots of fear, lots of humiliation, because it's preparing you for what life is actually about. Life is about going through a series of scenes. It's a movie. And there is the introduction of the character when you're a baby, the building of the character. You start going through, unfortunately, traumas. You're going to go through how the world actually is. And then once you become acclimated to the reality around you, that is when you can step into your role fully, because you're not in constant fear, right? You're going to start learning mechanisms to overcome those aspects of the world that a lot of people are too scared to face and come to terms with. They really want to think that people are inherently good. They even want to think that like trauma is wrong. It's baked into the system. Like everybody is scared, but you have to be that person to go despite being scared. There's demons everywhere. Like, trust me, I know, but you still have to attain enlightenment like this individual on the screen here.
Possession occurs in the insect kingdom as well. A parasitical fungus called Ophiocordyceps can't move about on its own. It blows wherever the wind takes it. Sometimes that means onto carpenter ants, and carpenter humans too, if you look close enough. It penetrates the exoskeleton and then germinates. It feeds on the ant's insides, but is careful not to kill it completely. Here's the charming part. The fungus shifts its chemical makeup to sync with the nervous system of the ant, and then lives through the ant, wearing it as a disguise. Now, for the first time, the fungus can move around and explore its world. That is, the ant's world vicariously. To celebrate its new life of free will, it drives the ant up whatever plant is high enough to sprout like some sci-fi alien movie from the ant's head and spread more of itself through dropping spores to the rest of the unsuspecting ants. What is important here is that despite how the individual ant might feel about the suicide mission, the other ants yet to be infected have no idea their comrade has been hijacked. It is very likely that the infected ant doesn't even know it was infected, as its will is now belonged to the parasite that controls it. Hypothetically, if an entire colony is usurped and only one or a few dodge this quiet attack, they would surely be very confused watching their entire ant colony willfully plunge into activities that go against the well-being of the entire colony.
And it's just like being a human going through this. Like, you're somebody who is sound of mind, but then you're seeing the rest of your colony just literally walk to their deaths while complaining about it. So what is the sound of mind ant supposed to think? That she is a genetic anomaly and something, she is different, right? Or is there a parasite going around that is highly effective to the rest of the colony, but she has an immunity for some reason? And she doesn't see what the rest of the colony, like, why is it so hard to resist this parasite?
The non-infected ants would then be outcasts in a world of mutually assured suicide. Our society is driven by multiple agencies with their own monetized goals. When the will to power drives a business to maximize profits, it creates a burden on everyone else in that society to have to keep up and fit in with those short-sighted goals. The concept of advertising itself is an egregore, meaning even without literal biological anatomy, it is alive and active, living through the numerous entities that make up its body.
Yeah, but these are the same people who brag about, we created society. Our society's the best. This is what you're gonna have to do. You have to work. You're gonna have to work in the parasitic society that you say is so amazing. That's why I'm an advocate for capitalism. Since your society is so great and it's the shining jewel of the world, you have to work to keep it up. And this advertisement is part of the work you gotta do.
So its body is a shape-shifting formlessness that attaches to and adapts to its environment. It works through human people as an avatar to post itself up high on billboards, TVs, and phone screens in order to germinate and spread itself onto other human people who, once infected, will go out and spend their time, money, and energy on that egregore. It doesn't matter how destructive the product or results to society are. The people will carry out the goal of that advertisement that, by design, seemingly came from up high. The few people who were not infected by the advertisement are now outcast into a minority of people who don't have the newest throwaway gadgetry. For example, those who say no to new smartphones are no longer getting fluent communication to keep up with life in general. If you miss a call on your landline, the opportunity that called just moves on to the next candidate who has that motherfucking thing on them at all times.
And it says here, verse 15 of, I don't know which one, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And the reason why I say that you guys can't live without capitalism is this verse right here. This is Revelation. I don't know what chapter, but this is Revelation in the Bible. And verse 17 said, no man might buy or sell. This is the scariest thing for a human being to experience if you can't buy or sell. Because you cannot be independent. No one's also going to work with you. Like you can't trade, right? And not being able to trade means death. You blame society, but these 4 books show you how you became it. Become a smart human and visit youaresociety.org/book. It's in the description.